When 1/2 of all government spending is invested in the wages and salaries of workers, it is not possible to reduce spending without addressing salary, benefits, and pension expenditures. As Premier McGuinty said last week, we cannot guarantee there will be no interruption in public services. We can, however, guarantee that our government will be firm and fair so that we can eliminate the deficit. That is something that is in everyone's interest. In the 2011 budget, we outlined the need to keep the rate of spending growth at 1.4% annually for the next 6 years. We also at that time committed to reforming public service delivery to help us meet our targets. And we appointed the Commission on Broader Public Sector Reform, chaired by Don Drummond. We know Mr. Drummond's preliminary advice is that spending growth may need to be reined in even more and held at 1% as a result of deteriorating revenue projections since the time of the budget. When this information became public, a lot of people did some back-of-the-envelope math that led to questions. Questions about spending growth in key priority areas like education and health care, and questions about cuts that may come to other ministries. As Finance Minister, there are questions that I asked. What will happen if we don't restrain growth in spending to those levels? Will Ontario be able to deliver world-class public services to the people who rely on them? Will Ontario be able to meet the targets outlined in the Balanced Budget Plan? So here's the answer. Last week, you heard the Conference Board of Canada estimates that in 2017-18, Ontario's deficit could still be $16 billion. Drummond looks at the pressures on Ontario's economy and analyzes the status quo. If the trend continues, if the delivery of public services is not transformed, he believes the deficit could track to $30 billion in 2017-2018. And we've done some math as well. Had the NDP been elected and implemented their platform in the last election, the deficit would be well over $30 billion. I say that at best because no one knows. They didn't cost a whole range of their promises for new tax expenditures, tuition frees, etc. Based on Mr. Drummond's analysis, if the Hudak Conservatives had been elected, the deficit would have been $36 billion. These differing numbers show us two things. One, economic forecasts and analysis are not absolutely definitive since they rarely come to a consensus. Two, despite the differences presented by various projections, it is clear that this serious challenge requires a serious plan. As Peter Drucker said, plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. It's time to build on the work we started 2 years ago. And we're eager to move forward because working hard and solving problems is the Ontario Liberal way. Our plan is fair, our plan is reasonable, and our plan ensures that everyone has a role to play. We will continue to review all of our assets to ensure that they are delivering the greatest value to taxpayers. We will build on reforms to the way government operates to ensure that Ontario families receive the best public services possible, and we will continue to slow down the rate of growth in government spending. The McGuinty government will hit its targets on the way to eliminate the deficit by 2017-2018. And here are 3 examples of steps we are taking to get there. First, the current headquarters of the LCBO was built in 1954. The LCBO has grown since then, and to accommodate staff, it rents additional office space elsewhere. The property includes the head office, a warehouse, and retail store, all sitting on some of the most valuable real estate in the country. We can make better use of the property to maximize the value of this taxpayer asset. We have directed the LCBO to sell its headquarters property. A flagship retail store will remain in the vicinity, while head office and warehouse will be moved. A new development project and new businesses on the site will create jobs. A new modern facility will help the LCBO realize operational savings as a result of the modernization, and we will generate more than $200 million from that step. Second, we've improved the performance of Service Ontario. Ontarians have taken advantage of the introduction of money-back guarantees for birth and marriage certificates with a success rate of about 99.8% last year. Customer satisfaction has increased from 75% in 2008 to 93% in 2011. Two-thirds of Service Ontario is already privatized. When an Ontarian goes to a Service Ontario office, it costs 5 times as much as a transaction performed online. Obviously, greater efficiencies can be gained by driving customers to a lower-cost online channel. However, building that capacity requires significant capital investment. In the current fiscal environment, this kind of investment is not a priority. So, we will use private sector capital to keep taxpayer dollars devoted to public services that are of the highest priority, like schools and health care. The government will continue to set standards for customer service, but we will allow the private sector to deliver those services, and they will deliver them in a more cost-effective manner. Third, since 1998, Ontario taxpayers have been subsidizing horse racing in Ontario to the tune of $345 million a year through the OLG Slots at Racetrack program. To put that annual subsidy into perspective, it's more support than we provide for water protection or road safety. It's also more than 10 times the amount BC, Alberta, and Manitoba combined provide to that industry. That kind of money would pay for over 9 million hours of home care, or insulin pumps and supplies for 5 years for almost 17,000 people. We are reviewing every program, every asset, and every function of government. We are considering if government should be in a specific line of business or service delivery. If not, we will get out of it. If we should be there, we will transform operations to ensure that Ontario families are receiving the best possible service. And if an asset is not delivering the highest value to taxpayers, we will take action to ensure that it does. We are lowering the rate of spending growth, and we will continue to meet our targets on the way to eliminating the deficit. Later this week, we look forward to receiving Mr. Drummond's report. It will help inform the 2012 budget as we move forward. We also look forward to hearing ideas about solutions and seeking the input of all Ontarians, including the opposition parties. Given the analysis, given the fiscal situation facing today's generation and tomorrow's, continued demands for short-term tax giveaways that undermine our long-term economic growth are not only unreasonable, they are irresponsible. Now, all of this is not to say cuts aren't needed and won't happen. They are and they will. The more we are able to transform the way we deliver public services, the less we will have to cut. And that means we will be better able to protect schools and health care. The public ultimately wants responsible spending, but they also believe that government has a role to play in their lives. Striking this balance in today's economic uncertainty means that low-priority programs will be eliminated or scaled back. Government needs to remove itself from lines of businesses that are not central to the expectations of Ontarians. Our job is to ensure that they are done in a liberal way, with deliberation, compassion, and a steady hand. When I meet with investors from all over the world, they ask how, despite the current global economic uncertainty, Ontario has managed to fare as well as it has. I answer that Ontarians have built a strong, caring, and progressive society and share a common ideal that every child from every home will have every opportunity to become the best that they can be. Ontarians have placed their confidence in our government to keep a steady hand on the tiller and steer us towards a stronger economy. And that is exactly what we are doing and will continue to do. We will eliminate the deficit. We will eliminate it in the timelines we've already outlined. We will keep strengthening our economic fundamentals. We have put the right plan in place for the times. It's a plan which will strengthen Ontario's economy for future growth and future prosperity. Now, each of us has to do our part in moving that plan forward. Whether it's businesses who need to continue making the investments necessary to increase productivity, or those of us in the public sector who need to strive constantly to ensure that we are delivering the best value and the best public services to Ontarians. You know, I started tightening my own belt for health reasons. I've been blessed with good health in so many ways. In spite of my job, no blood pressure issues. The heart is strong. The nerve is there. But over the last year and a half, I've enjoyed other benefits. I have more energy. I tire less easily. And my staff will tell you I'm often in a much better mood. My journey over these last 18 months and counting has obviously been a means to a few different ends. Similarly, for Ontario, eliminating the deficit isn't just about the numbers. It's about building the rock-solid foundation families need to support their jobs, their schools, their health care, and their future. It is about acting responsibly. It is about building a brighter future for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you very much.